So I'm back with the engine open again. So I'm after replacing the pushrod inlet valve number 1, and I've checked the clearance, because when it starts it sounds good, sounds quiet like it did in the video there, the last video, but after a while it gets intermittent and it gets noisy again. So I didn't think that I had another spare rocker shaft. Thought the only one I had was for a 20 diesel, but here's a spare Ferguson 20 head, and what I'm hoping to do is to take out one of these, whichever one looks good, the best, and fit that. Well, see if it's the same size. So I'm going to take it out anyway and take out the best one, and if it does, the push rod that I replaced actually was from this cylinder head, so I would imagine that these should be a better fit for it. I have a feeling that the adjuster that I left in the rocker shaft was actually worn uneven because of that bad push rod, and that other push rod, I've checked it again, it was slightly bent. So the one I replaced is perfect, but I think that because I didn't know I had this, I found it, I'm going to pick one of these, fit it, and then we'll give that a go, and that hopefully will resolve it for good. I'm going to take off this rocker shaft and I'm going to have a look on the faces of the rocker arms, because mine were fairly worn, so I want to have a look at them and see if there's any divots worn into them. And also, this is a Ferguson 20 TVO head, so I think it's a little bit, the rocker shaft's a bit shorter, but these rocker arms should be the same. And I want to compare the wear in the bushings to my own ones and pick out the best set out of both rocker shafts. So it usually involves just tapping out a pin in that each end and taking it asunder. So I'm going to take my time, take it all apart, and pick out the best of both rocker shafts and rebuild one good one. So I can, as I said, as you noticed up to now, there's some issue with a bit of a metallic sort of tapping sound, and I have a feeling it's just, you know, the likes of one or two of these giving a bit of an issue. And of course I replaced the push rod with one from this head when I really should be replacing the adjuster as well. Case are slightly different, so we'll give that a go. Here's the wear. I think these are called divots, and there's, get it to focus, there's a fair bit of wear on them, but it's fairly uniform. So if we look at this one there, you know, that's from rubbing the valve stem, the top of the valve, so that is fairly okay. The only problem with the gold belly, the exhaust valve has this extra little kind of a collet or lad on top of it compared to the inlet. And if I go and fit a rocker arm from the other one that doesn't have that, they're all just like number 2 there, I don't really know if that's going to go helping things at all. It might cause a bit more metallic clatter and tapping and all of that. But anyway, I'm going to take off the rocker shaft off this. We'll put it up on the bench and give it a good inspection and see about stripping this one first. And I'm going to try and check for, as I said, wear in the bushings and stuff like that, and try and make the best one I can out of both. I'm wondering whether a Ferguson 20 TVO will fit the Ferguson 35 rocker shaft. It will. This is the 20 TVO sitting on it there. Everything seems to be good. So now I'm going to take it over. What I have noticed is these are ones I took off. I took this and this off the 20 TVO, and they're different lengths. These two are short and these two, the other ones beside it, are long. So as you see there, the first two are the same length, and then these two are actually shorter. So I just measured them using a vernier, so some of these are short. It probably doesn't make much of a difference as long as you can adjust your valve clearance. It shouldn't make a difference, but it's still interesting to see the differences. After doing a few things, I'm after realizing that that adjuster there that I had to replace that because the threads were completely at on it. Now I'm going to try and hold it up to the light here and see, is it possible to get it to focus. The threads near the top were at, and I was wondering, I suppose, was that allowing things to move around a bit? Maybe it was. So I replaced that. When I had the rocker shaft out, I checked all the head bolts for torque. They're all torqued. There was no movement in them at all. And I made sure that the 4 studs holding down the rocker shaft were tightened in fully. Otherwise, you might think your rocker shaft is tightened down and it's not. So I'm after checking the valve clearance again. So I'm going to put it back together. Just throw the fuel tank on top of it. And loosely sit that rocker cover on, give it a start and have a listen to it and see is it any better. I've noticed this banjo bolt that goes in there is really important because this all has to be sealed up because your air intake is going to be sucking through that pipe. And I've often started this with that pipe off, and actually, to be honest with you, I won't even start. So what I do with this is I make sure it's well sealed. And if you look closely at this banjo, I only cleaned it off there and I see there actually is the remnants of a fibre washer on it. I've started picking it off. So I'm going to remove that, and I've picked out 2 Doughty washers. So that wasn't good having a Doughty washer on top of this, just in case it wasn't sealing. So I'm going to clean all this up in the vise and fit them 2 Doughty washers.